a world where space and time are intertwined, one man dared to challenge the status quo. His name? Dayton Miller. His weapon of choice, a flute. But not just any flute. This instrument held the power to unleash the ether, a pervasive medium once thought to fill the universe. Miller, a physicist by trade, a musician at
All right, hello and welcome, lads and ladettes. Tonight we're going to be doing a little Friday community Twitter spacing. Tap in with the Twitter lads and see what they're
Of course, dude, that's why I'm here. Come on.
Well, just so you know, no actual theodolites are used here. So you celestial theodolite to the young lad over here from down under?
Where do I buy one?
I don't know why you guys are still burning me about this. Like, I admitted, I myself, I don't like the 8 inches fucking curvature shit. I don't like the parabolic measurement. It doesn't make fucking much sense to me. And that's where I cross over to your side, guys. So stop giving me a fucking hard time.
Oh, we're not. We're going to get off the 8 inches per mile squared. We're going to show you how a mountain blocked a star and proved the Earth was flat.
Oh, it proved that the Earth wasn't a globe or whatever, but
yeah, it proved that. Well,
you always do the opposite of your nully.
So they were actually trying to disprove the flat, and they couldn't do it. Didn't disprove the globe, though. I guess is what they're saying. But didn't get rid of the null hypothesis. But we have Alan and Shane in the house who are pretty proficient on this. If either one of you would like to describe this.
Yeah, nice. So we started off with a simple premise using the null hypothesis method. So the hypothesis is that the Earth is a globe, and then the null hypothesis is the complete, has to be the complete opposite, mutually exclusive opposite. So our null hypothesis is that the Earth is flat, and what we, the premise of our measurements it'll give a mutually exclusive outcome for which one of those is more likely to be true. So if the Earth is a globe, we should be able to falsify our null hypothesis, and then that would leave the only available hypothesis left as the globe is the truth. And if we fail to falsify our null hypothesis, then it is more likely that the assumed hypothesis that we were using as correct is false. So we assume that the Earth is a globe for the hypothesis, and for the null, we assume that it's not a globe, that it's flat. The exact opposite. Can't be both, right? Can't be like a little bigger globe or whatever. Has to be opposites. So what we proposed was that we could do rise over run to a mountain peak, which is just basic trig of the known elevation and the distance to the peak, and that'll give you an angle. And then you could do the same for what the globe would predict over that elevation with drop over distance. So there's a couple different ways you could do that, but the most important thing to note is that the globe predicts a different physical angle than what flat Earth predicts, and the amount that they're off, or the amount that they differ by, is that drop over distance amount. So if you take the motion of the stars in the sky that move at, let's say 15 degrees per hour, for how navigation and stuff works, and angles equal time in celestial navigation. So if you know the time, you know the angle where the star was at. So by knowing that, we start recording the stars as they set into the mountain peak, and when they become occluded, when we can no longer see them, we note the time that they're not visible, and we go into Stellarium and we enter the coordinates of the mountain peak, the thing that did the occluding, and we look at the angle of the star relative to that peak using the true position of the star. So we consider that the light source, so the physical intersection between the two, and that's what caused the occlusion. And if the Earth is a globe, then that occlusion angle is going to be the lower angle that we derived earlier for the globe, and it won't be the higher angle that we derived for flat Earth. But as we go through all the peaks and measurements, it ends up being it ends up being flat Earth is closer in every aspect of it. And then when we derive distances, we're also closer in distances. So
what do you think about that, Shannon? Evan?
I just
No,
think I think the globe is that big, that massive, that it's actually sort of hard to measure the curvature, and it's hard to recreate some of the experiments like the pressurized Earth and stuff like that. Like it's generally hard to actually prove a lot of stuff, and that's why I'm sort of a fucking fence sitter sometimes.
Well, the thing about the globe being so big and you just can't tell, and the math that describes the positions of where the stars are at, is actually over any distance, half of that amount in angle wise is related to what's called the central angle. And what that means is for the full arc of a distance, the sky has to move twice as much as what they would say there's Earth curvature for. So, for the example that I just gave you, if you think of a distance of 50 kilometers from you to the target, there's going to be 200 meters of drop in between you and the target. And for that star to move from your zenith to uh, to that same angle that it got occluded at, it has to move by twice that amount. So instead of having to overcome 200 meters, it moves like the equivalent of 400. It's a direct mathematical relationship. So the difference in occlusion angles for stars and the relative to the like physical elevation of the mountains is perfectly it's well within our ability to measure the differences, because we can measure, even if you did it in 1 arc second intervals for 1 second, like we can still deduce enough accuracy to get what we need out of that for the physical elevation differences, because one second of arc in the sky corresponds to 4 real seconds on Earth. So if the difference in measurement between flat Earth and globe is 13 arc minutes, that's 52 minutes of real time. It's a real 52-second difference in time. So it can easily be demonstrated in that regard. But for most things, when you do like optical measurements and stuff, like, yeah, you're not going to notice drop over distance. But with this combination of the mountain peaks and the stars and how it relates to central angle and how that's literally the backbone of the globe, it has to be analogous to that time. Otherwise there's no globe.
So we said it's hard to measure. Actually, no, this is precisely easy to measure. And because we're using an external reference, it shows definitive, model exclusivity, meaning, remember that hypothesis we started off with, one or the other? It is definitely one and not the other here. It's nice.
I don't think it's definitive. I don't think the guy that was just talking about it would say it's definitive. He was pretty careful to say it was the Occam's razor choice.
What?
Yeah. I mean, all the sample data that we have is pretty definitive on the secondary and primary analyses, pretty sure.
Well, Evan thinks that Occam's razor means if you can explain something simply, it must be the right answer.
Well, I
Evan
mean, if
is 17 years old.
Is he?
Yes.
Stop giving Evan a hard time. He's up here. He's trying to sort of express his ideas. Come on, guys. He's a man.
I don't mind him giving.
And without me, there'd be some dead air.
Brought up
Not a lot of
Occam's
Glovers.
razor.
And some really terrible Globers, Evan. You're right. Dude, as a 17-year-old, he's outdoing all the Globers that we usually talk to. So,
I mean, they're all in the timeline telling us, how dumb we are. And
no, they're literally virtue jerking, which is like ignoring the comment, ignoring the post, telling each other how dumb we are, and offhanded comments, congratulating each other for doing so. Haven't actually engaged with anything you said or refuted anything you posted, but here they are to tell you vague, vacuous statements and how dumb it is. And then some other guy will be like, yeah. And then that happens 3 or 4 times in chains. That's why I call it virtue jerking.
Like when you give them an article or whatnot from an actual globe person that's
ignored, dismissed, don't have to look at that. Nope, stupid, did law flirt. It's like you didn't read any of it. You
And
didn't
it
even look
says
at it.
that the horizon's going to be the same for the globe or for a flat Earth, and they're like, no.
Oh yeah, that's from today. I was having fun today in the timeline, dude. They were like, because one of their things is if the Earth was flat, there'd be no horizon. And instead of me saying, "Listen, dude, that's retarded," what I did was I was like, "Here's a physicist from Substack or whatever who when asked the same question said yes, of course they would, and it would look exactly the same. Maybe start there." And they were like, "No, fake, false, bullshit. No, dude, no." It's like, you didn't even read it yet. You didn't even read anything. You didn't even look at the link. You didn't go there. Like they don't have to because they already know you're wrong. And I think by contrast, I think Evan at least listens to what we're saying and isn't just waiting to say his next thing.
Well, they have no intention in proving that we are right. That's just it.
Like that whole map thing. Keep on giving them the answer, then they post the same thing over and say, "You guys never answer this question."
Yeah, it's like how like when
Oh,
a
dude.
toddler has a toy, right? And you want to take that toy away, and they're like, "No, no," and anything. Their whole world is this toy, so they'll do anything so that you don't take this toy away. So like what he's doing is he's purposely not understanding maps, so we can have his one toy, which is to post that maps picture over and over again to just like chant that there's no answer for it. So it's a purposeful misunderstanding. And then what I respect about Piper is not only that this ignorance is supreme, but that he weaponizes his ignorance so effectively. So like his ignorance becomes your problem in almost every one of his insults / questions. So that the end result is staggering. He refuses to learn because if he should learn, then we can take his rattle away, and he really needs that rattle. So
That was well put. It's almost exactly like that.
but like, so I blocked him immediately because I thought he was a fuckwit, and then I thought about it, and I saw him just shitting all over my comments. So I was like, the better approach with you is to just respond to everything you say as much as I can, because otherwise you just shit everywhere and like endlessly and virtue jerk with everyone. So it is what it is.
Yeah, I started unmuting and unblocking some of the Globers too. It's like, if there's supposed to be communication, and so that we could get our point across to them, that to realize and show them that they're wrong about a lot of this. That's all I could do.
Well, so dude, did you guys? I don't know. Like you guys know that guy plus or minus 8 degrees. I don't know what his name means, but he's a Glober on here that talks about maps.
I don't know if I've seen that particular guy.
Well, one of his answers, like he actually went deep because like he was like, my day job is maps, and I was like, what do you mean?
Is it the one that
What-
kind of looked like he had Shane in his profile?
Yeah, I asked him about what does his profile mean, and he meant something totally different. But I was like, whatever, that is him. But like he put out one like post where I could tell he at least half watched like 2 of my prezes and was like, and he tried to like attack the actual points, and it was like almost well thought out. And now they were only just the mainstream points and all the ones that I refute, but they weren't the normal bullshit. Like what someone like Piper does is reject everything I say on the face that I'm in opposition, so everything must be wrong because I'm retarded. So what this guy did was analyze all the stuff. He was like, you know what? Everything you say is right, but I disagree with all your conclusions. And I was like, well, I mean, that's fair, right? Because that's we're at the opposite sides of the debate, and we have all the same information. So that statement makes sense to me. Like I'm comfortable with that. So I said I respect that, right? And I think I reposted it or something. So that's one of the better Globe responses I've seen on maps. Something that Piper would never be able to do.
I mean, you can exactly, man. I agree with everything you said. I just disagree with your conclusion.
He's like, I can't. He's like, you're actually like well researched. I think like the stuff you say is correct, but all of your conclusions are wrong. And as the Glober disagreeing with me, I'm like, I'll take that. That's fair. Like I don't know what else. Yeah, we disagree on everything, but everything we have all the same information. Like okay, all right.
Plus, if you think about it, if the Earth is a sphere, the Earth's round. Why didn't Russia discover the Americas before Europe did?
Come on, Kevin. Evan, we're holding you in high esteem here, and you're gonna be like subtracting points, offering offhanded oddball jokes like that. You can do better.
Maybe, maybe not. Got Stone in the house.
That we do. How we doing, boys?
Doing well, man. How you doing?
And lady. Oh, pretty good, man. Pretty good.
Stone G.
Getting it in gear.
Man, Lily's got to fix her phone or something. Never comes in anymore.
Yeah, she's just attacking Muslims left and right. Seems to take her up full time now.
She does seem personally invested in that particular battle, doesn't she?
Well, that's I can see that.
It's on a crusade.
My crusade gets me suspended 6 times. So
But here you are cracking on still. How many people you have? Let's see. Only 1,300. There must be diminishing returns on like the 7th or 8th account.
I mean, I'm trying to be nice to my followers. You know, it's hard
Yo,
to keep.
Nick, what did you do to that Alex Bogue guy?
What I do to him? Why? What's he got going on?
I don't know. It seems like he posts a lot that says, like, he starts off the post that says "Dear Flat Earthers" like every day, but he tags you specifically in there.
Oh, that's not him. It's that tech guy or something like that. Alex just comments in there.
Oh,
It's
that's
the
so
original.
funny, dude. It pops up in my feed every day. It's like, "Dear Flat Earthers, you can't explain XYZ," and then it just like tags Nick Cage in it. Like, what did you do to this guy?
I went in there and told him gas laws debunk space, and then gave him all the information. So now he wants to throw all this stuff at me. I'm like, dude, just get some gas in a vacuum, man, and have it turn into a freaking ball, and I'll be impressed. Maybe I'll believe in space again. Do that.
You don't respond to his daily editorial?
Sometimes. I mean, the Alex Bogue dude, I think I ended up muting him because like I said, man, I give these guys a few rounds here and stuff, but when it turns into a circle jerk, you know, it's like, come on, man. I ain't got
Dude,
time.
it's 99% a circle jerk.
I know. And I got
muting
everybody
is-
muted. That's not,
Yeah, so all you're doing is closing your eyes and letting everyone shit everywhere. Like they're still there for the public can see all the virtue jerking. It's so frustrating.
I don't have the patience for it, man. That's why I'll hold
No.
space. Y'all can come in here and, you know, had one guy just come in here and just started off. I said, hey, welcome to the show, man. And then he started, you're a Nazi.
It's like welcome. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I was there. That was fun. Yeah, he did do that.
That was funny.
That guy sounds like the life of the party.
You gotta like
That-
the dollars.
That's
man.
like saying you're a racist.
You're a racist.
Come on, he dressed it up a little bit. He called you a flurf Nazi.
Oh, a flurf nut.
Is that a
different
special type of
from
Nazi?
different from the regular Nazi or whatever. We're
So
like
it's
a
like
different
supreme
variant.
national socialism, but also flirtism. Mm.
But also with the flat Earth cosmology, it's like what's more dangerous, their political
Ooh.
beliefs or their cosmological beliefs?
Dude, what's more dangerous than a master race? A master race that thinks the world or the universe revolves around them or whatever. A geocentric master
Oh,
race.
Man.
dude, it's the worst kind of Nazi, dude.
The worst kind of Nazi. And then you got the battle of the beams, and it's like, whoa, wait a minute, what? Maybe I am a flurf Nazi.
I mean,
There's no such
the Germans were definitely smart enough to go, hey, if this wave's propagating over a sphere, we're going to have to use creeping wave diffraction to describe said propagation. And it's going to make it such that this beam can only go about, I think, 130 miles before it ends up being 40 miles wide because it's following a curvature that's has to do with the radius of Earth and how it's propagating over that distance versus like plane diffraction propagation where it's just, you know, naturally diffracting out as it goes out. And when they realized that they didn't have to do the creeping wave situation and their beam went all the way to Derby and beyond, they probably all immediately became flat earthers.
I mean, how can you not? I mean, at what point do you got to go, damn, the Earth is flat?
I've been very surprised with the threshold of that with the common person, actually, dude.
You would,
It
really,
takes a lot more than you would think.
I mean, I really thought when you pointed it out to people, people would go, that's interesting. I got to look into this. But it turns out they don't.
You know why? Dude, people like McToon. Anytime there's a whiff or a hint of someone asking a genuine question to a flat earther somewhere, dude appears like Batman from the shadows to like cast shade, personal insults, throw shit everywhere, start talking about thanks Bob or whatever. Here's the first law, like that guy's whole like when he just invades like any live stream anywhere, and then he just shit talks everyone else, and there's like a whole troop of people that follow him and do all that, and I think they're actively preventing. Like if you're a normal person and there's a whole brigade of people who just hate something, most people are like, I'm getting out of here. Some people are like, what do you guys hate so much? And they come over and they get interested. But some people just avoid all that shit because it's terrible. So I think that's what like McToon does, is he smears that shit all over the stuff that we do.
Yeah. I think Professor Dave has a lot to do that too.
Yeah, I use McToon, but like there's a whole list of them. Whatever. Well, there's like 4 or 5 of them. There's not a whole list of them.
The whole group of fallacy factories.
Yeah, you know.
So what do you think about that, Evan? You think you can get gas to form up into a ball in the vacuum?
Speaking of ball gas vacuums, did you guys ever catch that video by Pari Robitaille, who goes by Sky Scholar on YouTube? If you go to Sky Scholar's YouTube and you search the channel, you type Professor Dave or just Dave, you'll see a response video that he did regarding why he thinks the sun isn't made of what is it, compressed gas or whatever they say it is, and that he doesn't think it's nuclear reactions or whatever, nuclear fusion and stuff and all that. He thinks it's a liquid plasma situation, and he goes into why. But anyway, the video is it's a really good breakdown because he goes by like point by point of everything that Dave was trying to say to refute it, and just kind of breaks it down at a very easy level to understand. But one of the first arguments he makes about why the model of the sun is incorrect is because it depends on thermodynamic equilibrium with the nuclear reactions and gravity and stuff. And what he says is that in order for there to be gas pressure, you need a container, because the equations and how everything that describes gas pressure is based off of kinetic gas theory. And without a container, you can't reach thermodynamic equilibrium. It would never work. And like it's basically, an argument that we've been making forever. You can't have gas pressure without a container. And that dude, overlooking the earth was just like, yeah, this would never work on the sun. You can't have a pressure without a container. It's literally based on kinetic gas theory, which is based on pressure building up, molecules bouncing off of a container to create pressure. So
that is a good video. I watched it.
Such a simple concept. A container. I mean, seriously, that's how you get pressure. It has to hit the walls of the container. They deny it, though. Right, Evan?
I don't deny it.
You don't deny pressure needs a container?
Poor kid.
Welcome to Flat Earth.
Well, could be a concentric sphere globe still, just in another container. So can't claim that.
Well, listen.
One.
Yeah.
If I had to put my
Glober
Glober glasses on, right? Well, it's obviously gravity flare, which increases in an ever decreasing density layer, which supersedes to nothing and eventually tapers off, and that's what obviously holds in this giant from the container. That's what they mean, right? Isn't that supposed to be the answer?
The gravity.
Well, you guys know like the mainstream model, familiar enough with it. So I think it's curious you spend your time talking about how gas pressure needs a container and not countering what the mainstream model would say when you said that to them, which is gravity. So why aren't you countering gravity instead of saying gas pressure needs a container? You're just sticking at the first step of the argument when you know it's not where the argument's at.
Well, because that's using the thing that's in question as the mechanism to do it. So that's begging the question. And as we were just going over, kinetic gas theory is based off of pressure in a container. So the fact that they use that and then turn around and say gravity is the container, but use the thing in question as the example, that's circular reasoning. So that's why
No, it's not. It's not circular reasoning.
I highly recommend you
it's
look
logic.
up begging the
you
question.
start with the gas law. You say it must have a container. We know there's a container out there. We call it gravity. How's that begging the question? It's theoretical.
Okay, well, let's talk about that gravity for a sec. Evan, have you ever taken the time to quantify how much gravity exists on the surface of the sun?
No.
Okay, well, that would be an error on your part, wouldn't it? In researching your own model, isn't that a piece of information you'd want to have because you assert so many things about the sun? Turns out there's slightly less than 28 Earth G on the surface of the sun. If mass attracts mass, if you know what I'm saying there, wink, because like it fucking doesn't. The point here being that at 28 G, do you think there's even enough pressure anywhere near the surface of this big giant gas ball to produce implosion? You know, according to the Rutherford Bohr model, which is also bogus, but I'm assuming we're going to go with your paradigm. Do you see that happening at under 28 G at the surface? Because as you go towards the center, G's going to zero, right? So that's the maximum pressure downward, and it's a gas. It's not even you know what I mean, a solid mass pressing down. It's gas. It's kinetic gas. That's not a lot of that's pressure in all directions, not just down because of gravity, right? How exactly is this fission and fusion taking place in less than 28 G with hydrogen and shit? Have you considered that? I think I stumped him.
I think he's still thinking about what the hell you just said.
All I did was quantify the mainstream assertion. Isn't that just wild how that works when you do that?
Plus, I don't think like we had to talk about gravity last time. We're not refuting. No one's disagreeing that things fall. We only disagree as to why things fall, as Stone went over with mass attracting mass fantasy. I think we went over that quite clearly last time, right? Do you remember kinematics and dynamics?
And electrostatics and a whole bunch of that, yeah.
Let's see. I think I have something on this too.
So, Evan, are you like consulting AI right now about my question, or do you have any thoughts on the subject?
I don't really prefer to engage your methods. I mean, so I pointed out
my
to
methods.
Them,
you don't like my methods?
Yeah, the interruption. So I pointed out to them that it doesn't make sense to strawman how because we don't assume that gas laws are broken. We assume there's a container. So why are flat earthers strawmanning when they know that globe earthers don't think that there's no container? We think gravity contains. That was my point. And then you asked me questions, and
all right,
on your past, you ask a lot of questions, but don't.
I asked you about gravity because you mentioned gravity, and we talking about the sun because you mentioned the sun. So all I asked you is if you ever quantified the gravity that exists allegedly on the surface of the sun. What kind of methods of mine do you have a problem with here? I'm missing that.
I think you're just talking your past way behavior. Over his head.
No,
so, Evan,
wasn't.
I'll try and break it down simply for you.
See this kind of stuff. So I mean, I guess you'll get your answer.
I'm trying to make it simple for you, Evan, so you can understand what he just told you, because you obviously missed everything he told you.
He asked me questions.
Right. Basically, he took your assertion that gravity is the container. He didn't even say it's not.
Wrong. That wasn't my assertion just now. My assertion was that it doesn't make sense to straw man.
You said we straw man your position and say that there's no container when gravity is your container. And so he ran with what you said and then talked about the strength of your container. That's what the 28 Gs is about.
So yes, that's how I followed. I agree. That's what he did. And then he asked me questions about technicalities. But originally, still, my point isn't that gravity is real or not. Me and Stone have kind of talked about it before. My point was that it doesn't make sense because globe earthers don't think there's no containment. So whoever's talking about
Yeah,
the third law
we
of
know
gas,
you think gravity is your container.
Right. So why are you talking about something before the argument?
I was talking about gravity on the sun. Wow, man.
So no one strawmanned your position, okay, Evan? But check this out. It's a little clip here. It's going to be Evan, theoretical physicist Davis Gross, who won the 2004 Nobel Prize in Physics. Turns out he doesn't know what gravity is. They can describe the effect in what we see and can measure the speed of things fall, but we don't know the cause, which seems to be the problem that we can't get an answer on. And we've been looking for this for over 400 years. Here you go.
What is gravity? Stunned silence. Any order? No, just jump in, please.
I wish we really knew. So, I mean, we can certainly, it's easy enough to describe properties of gravity. It's easy enough to describe theories of gravity. We've had two marvelous theories.
Fantastic.
What is, for somebody like me, raises the question marks and not the answers that we already know. So, in a deep sense, we don't think we know the answer to that.
I mean, these are theoretical physicists that won Nobel Peace Prize can't tell you what gravity is. Are you sure you want to go ahead and hang your hat on something like that?
Dude, that's awesome. You have that queued up. I think that's amazing.
It's theoretics, man. It's the best current thing. That's all it is.
So it's an imagination that can't be proven.
Hasn't been proven, but it is an imagination.
Nor isolated.
Yeah, you can't prove gravity in any way situation for what you want to claim it does.
Yeah. Since you
can you claim it being violated?
Since you like theoretical things, I have a theory that double rainbows are caused by unicorn farts. And you know how I know it's true? Because you can see fucking double rainbows. They're there.
There you go.
Obviously, my theory that unicorn farts cause double rainbows is valid.
And Ken's math proves it. No, your math, Kevin. That's what's proving it.
So
you know what I mean?
You said, "Can I disprove this or whatever?" Is that what was your question again, there, Evan? Can I disprove it?
For his double rainbows to be the same thing.
No, wait.
I'm answering.
No, not for that. Not for that.
I'm answering what you said, Nick.
You said
Trust me.
you said something about what laws were being broken.
Yeah. So I'm answering you by also answering him. His rainbow thing. If you could prove it wasn't caused by rainbow farts, you'd have what he just prescribed to have, which I forget his wording.
So
if you couldn't prove it, you couldn't disprove it. So rainbow farts could be if you never get to the end of a rainbow.
No, those were unicorn farts, though.
Yeah,
you gotta be sure about that.
Unicorn farts at the end of a rainbow. So, and my point about laws was, if you can disprove it, then you prove the opposite. But
all right, well,
if you can't prove the opposite or the positive,
hold
then
on a
you
minute.
just have.
I get you, man. I get you. You made your. So anyway, first and foremost, gravity is a theory. Therefore, it is not a law. And what debunks it are actual gas laws that require pressure to be in a container, as Alan stated earlier, and also volume needing boundaries. P and V, buddy. P and V. You need a container.
You got a hand up.
Do we have a hand up? What's up there, Water?
Oh, I just had a question for Evan about mechanical systems that don't require maintenance. Do you have examples of that, Evan?
No, there's no eternal machine, no eternal anything.
Right. So what is the maintenance schedule of the 12,000 or so satellites flying above you?
I have no idea. Until their solar panels degrade and don't function anymore, some other electric failure.
They run out of thrust?
How are they going to degrade?
Why do they degrade?
Just pure.
Why do we have satellites up there for like 50, 60 years?
I don't know what the solar panel black parts are made of, graph. I have no idea what they're made of, but I don't think they. Yeah, I don't know what would degrade them. Just UV,
Well,
I guess,
how
after a
about
while.
NASA's claim that in every 24-hour span, we're talking about a couple of metric tons of detritus coming from space hitting us at 10 to 40,000 miles per hour. Little teeny projectiles that all allegedly burn up in orbit and stuff. But of course, they're still going this speed and they're still fully intact when they're up, 400 or 500, 600 miles above Earth, allegedly, right? Because there's no atmosphere to slow things down up there. So they'd be going full speed, and there's like every day metric tons of these little teeny rocks and shit all hitting the Earth at all angles, at all speeds. But none of it seems to be taking out the satellites ever. We talk to a guy on Discord constantly by the name of Josh. He is like on the team to put these satellites up there, allegedly. And one of them, or actually out of the 60s, whatever happened, he's done. Some of them have been up there for 4, 5, 6 years now. And he has no explanation at all for how they're still working, if we are to believe anything that NASA claims at all.
Of course.
Shoot, man. We got the Voyager, man.
Yeah.
Launched in 1972. It's 15 billion miles away and still sends us signals, and it takes about 23 3/4 hours to get here.
How does that make sense?
Beautiful pictures.
So I would say the way you put it, it doesn't make sense.
Thank you,
But
Evan. Thank you for understanding that you cannot. Thank you for understanding that you cannot have mechanical systems that don't require maintenance. Thank you.
Of course.
I'm being honest.
I
It's a
don't
hard
sense
thing
any
to admit.
sarcasm. I hope you don't sense it in me either.
No,
People
I'm
admit
not
it.
trying to be
I'm
rude.
not.
It's just that this is like a step towards understanding, like a big step.
Yeah. So about I don't know what element or what material you said is reportedly raining from space and getting burnt up in the atmosphere, but
Dust and rock.
dust and rock. So yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah,
that's hitting
all the
surface.
stuff they claim is up there, silicon, carbon, all those cool things. They keep claiming all that stuff is falling on us. Not that we ever see any of it in our own yards or anything.
And 12,000 satellites in geosynchronicity, according to them.
It sounds like that's a lot of weight hitting the Earth, but it doesn't make me instinctively think, oh, that would have destroyed some of the satellites. Like to you,
Well,
that
no,
seems like it would, but to me, it
it's
doesn't.
not about the weight, but try a numerical calculation. Out of 2 metric tons,
Yeah, this one.
if nothing of that volume was bigger than a golf ball, and frankly, most of it, closer to a grain of sand, right? That's a lot of projectiles in 24 hours, right? Now,
2 metric tons?
Yeah. And now extrapolate
over the whole
that.
surface of the Earth? No, see, I'm not going to say that's a lot over the size.
But you
of the
see,
Earth.
extrapolate that for years, day by day by day by day by day. You know what I mean? That's not a lottery anymore. That's a likelihood.
Yeah, then I'm saying that seems like a lot, but I'm still not I'm not seeing it for sure. Like I'm still just reckoning in my head, so it's not too moving,
It's starting to happen. So
that's cool. I got time. Think about it a lot, Evan. I hope you truly do, because you're going to find out how little of what I'm pointing out here actually does add up.
Yeah. To be honest, I didn't check your Rowdy post just because I didn't want to make an account. Just to be honest, I did not read that stuff that I said I would read. I should have.
Didn't check my what post?
The other social media. I think it's the one that Rumble. I didn't check your reference there that you.
Well, you don't need to have an account to check Rumble. All you have to do is check my bio and click the Rumble tag and enter FE amount of stone if it's not already automatically part of the key. Like, no, you don't need to have an account at Rumble to watch Rumble. I don't know what planet you're on, guy.
So, Evan,
go
ahead, Karen.
Video.
Well, he was just confessing that he didn't do any of the stuff that you said he would do last time. I think that's what he was saying. It's fine.
That's okay. They never. So Evan.
Oh, not never. There was one guy who did. Remember Jonathan?
Oh, he followed up?
Yeah, he even posted a comment on one of my videos on Moon Part 2, I think. And we talked about vector analysis and frame of reference and stuff on a comment or two. And I recommend that he talk to Eric on Discord on Aether Cause, because they have a lot more in common. They're both globies. They're both, truly inspired by mathematics and are into speaking on those terms strictly. And Eric would be glad to talk to him. So yeah, points to Jonathan, 0 to Evan.
Makes sense. So, Evan,
One to Evan for being honest and admitting it. Sorry.
No, Evan, do you believe in the moon landing?
Yeah,
Who's that,
if I'm in
Drake?
heaven and God's asking me, he says you got to guess right. I say we landed 69.
Right. Okay,
Wow.
so
That's pretty
wow.
definitive. That's a
That's
pretty
wild.
strong answer, dude.
Okay.
That's pretty wild. So
Strong stance.
you ever watched the video of the departure sequence?
It's been at least 10 years if I have.
Right. Okay. So just so you know, from a cinematography perspective, that's called a tilt, rack, and stack. It's one of the hardest shots to make. And to claim that humans somehow in 1969 could remotely control something 250,000 miles away and perform a perfect tilt, rack, and stack is almost crazy. Like you're at the point where you're just lying to yourself. How they could remotely control a camera with cinematography that would make someone in today's world drool from 270,000 miles away. Did they even have 18.8 modems back then? Like,
Quick question out of ignorance. Was
no,
the
go ahead.
landing programmed
We're talking about the
at all,
departure.
or was it completely?
We're talking about
was it
who
completely
filmed.
manual?
We're talking about the supposed remote controlled camera that NASA operated from 270,000 miles away to film the departure of the Apollo spacecraft from the moon. Now you understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah, just the panning of the camera.
What number is that again? Apollo 11? Yeah.
I mean, if they're saying it's
270,000
all
miles,
remote
they didn't have
controlled.
we didn't have modem-based telecommunications back then, right? It wasn't even a modem, right? 270,000 miles away, and they're performing cinematography that would make like today's cinematographers drool. Robotically. Like, and this is what you're telling me you believe, right? So take yourself a little more seriously. There's still a lot of globers that will admit that the moon landing was fake. Like, you can still sort of like tell yourself that you live on a ball, but we never made it to the moon. And there's lots of globers that come up with valiant reasons why it was fake, because it had to be kind of bullshit. But please be honest with yourself first that we never made it to any moon. And then eventually you'll level up and understand that the moon is not a 3D object that can be landed on. And then it'll be interesting to you to understand why you've never seen the other side, or why it doesn't rotate, or why it produces its own light, why the clouds near the moon are lit up, but nothing else around it is lit up. That can't be sunlight. Like, it's very obvious when you start understanding things why you're being lied to. So
I got a question about that camera.
Evan. Okay, go ahead, Vambi.
The purported camera that filmed the lunar module leaving, was that film? And was it purported to be film? And how did they get the information back?
I have no clue. You can go ask Grok and they'll come up with some bullshit. The same way that they can't explain the amount of air that they had, right? Because there's no way they had enough air. Well, they had lunar support. They've literally invented a story for every single, they had whatever lunar support packs that could somehow generate oxygen out. Like, come on, like, it's retarded. It's retarded.
Oh, we went into cameras this week.
Ken knows.
They were talking about one of the camera that was mounted on the lunar rover. They said that it was a broadcast camera, and it could only broadcast back to the lunar lander, but the lunar lander had 20 watts that it could broadcast, and they had 65-meter receivers that were I don't know, super cooled or some shit like that. So that they could filter the image and it'd come out, really great, and from 250,000 miles away. But they're saying that they had broadcast cameras, and
Yep.
apparently they did have broadcast cameras that might have been about that size. But what I'm trying to figure out is if the one on the lunar rover could only transmit to the lunar lander, which wasn't that far from it. How the hell was this one transmitting when it took off? What was it transmitting to?
Exactly.
Dude, I had to ask Rock because I never thought about this. And honestly, it says, listen, obviously it was captured by the remotely controlled TV camera mounted on the lunar roaming vehicle, and it was a live video sent back to Earth in real time via the rover's high gain antenna, which relayed the signal to the command module in lunar orbit and then to the ground stations on Earth. No worries. No physical film was involved in this shot. It's analog. It's analog video footage. Black and white camera was converted, broadcast live, and recorded at mission control. The rover and its camera were intentionally left behind after the astronauts departed. Thus, there's no film recovery needed. Well, that's wrapped up in a nice, neat bow. What do you guys think?
Picture as well on the rover there with the camera and the dish that there's also no tracking system for where Earth's going during this time.
And
how are you sending the signal in the right direction? You know what I mean?
I think they only came out with this because we came out with what happened to Larry, the camera guy. Like, the guy you left on the moon who took the camera shot that, was impossible to send it back. The poor guy, the poor soul who sacrificed his life so we could have that shot. They were like, well, here's a whole new technology we didn't tell you that we used, like, duh.
We didn't just leave somebody on the moon, man. But, I was all like, even this equipment that they want to say, I mean, this is what it's dealing with. First off, the moon I said, what is the temperature on the moon? And it said the moon has no atmosphere, so temperatures may vary drastically depending on whether the location is direct sunlight or in a shadow. And there's no average global temperatures like Earth. So it's either or situation here. Daytime, direct sunlight, we're getting up to 127 degrees Celsius or 260 degrees Fahrenheit. This is the maximum recorded at the lunar equator around the moon, because they did a survey of the moon and stuff and went all the way around it. Got to the equator and stuff, apparently. In the nighttime, it gets down to 173 degrees Celsius or minus 280 degrees Fahrenheit, or colder during the long lunar night. About 14 Earth days, temperatures plummet. Extreme cold and permanently shadowed craters, especially near the poles, as low as 238 degrees Celsius or negative 396 degrees Fahrenheit, or even 250 degrees Celsius in some deep craters where sunlight never reaches, measured by NASA Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter.
Reconnaissance. Incroyable.
Those craters where they never get any sunlight, that's where they find all their lunar ice. We got water on the moon, boys.
Got water in space.
I like how the figures change over the years. It's sort of like the estimate of the distance to the sun has for the last 150 years, 300 years, or however you want to pretend we're actually keeping track. Like, I got an article here from 2013 where the hot side of the moon is a little over 120 C, and the cold side is about minus 170 C. And those were nowhere near the figures you just quoted. I love it. It's so much fun. We should plot that over time and see how they look.
It's getting colder and hotter.
It's getting colder and hotter in space, huh? Well, I guess that's what happens when it expands at 4 times the speed of light. I mean, you got to expect something like that, right?
Well, I got a question. They keep talking about the thermosphere and the temperature range. I mean, you can fucking Google the temperature range of the thermosphere, and it's these outrageous numbers. And everybody says, well, actually, there's no heat because there's no particles. And I'm thinking, but if you put something there like the ISS,